Hello and welcome. It's Devon Live Chat and it's a Music Monday, and we are honoured to have Yazzie with us today. Hello, Yazzie.
Hello.
Hi there. Now, I've followed your career for quite a while, going back to the days of when I was on The Voice, and you came along and everybody went, wow, this girl is absolutely brilliant. How old were you when you started?
So I did my first gig when I was 10 at Party at the Manor in Flemington, and my primary school teacher actually made me go and do it. She was like, "Yes, come and sing." So I did that when I was about 10, and then from then I was like, "Oh, like this is it. This is what I want to be doing." So ever since then, I have gigged, recorded, and pursued what I'm doing now.
So what was the driving force behind you sort of going into this career?
What was the what behind it? Sorry?
What was the person or people behind pushing you into doing this?
I don't really know. I don't think anyone really pushed me as such to do music. I think that from a young age, I always showed an interest in music because my granddad has always sung, and when I was little, I used to spend a lot of time with him. When I was younger, I had piano lessons. So from like the age of like 5, I had piano lessons. So I've always been surrounded by music. And then when I was about 10, yeah, it was my primary school teacher, Mrs. Grant, that I was always singing in the playground, and she was like, "Come and do this gig at Party at the Manor." And then I think from doing that and then posting a few little things online just for fun, I started to grow a bit of a following, and then that really helped me to be like, "Oh yeah, like I could do this, and I could do gigs." And then as the years and time went by, I'd get offered gigs and stuff like that. And so it kind of just happened naturally, but it was through, I guess, my own love of it. I don't think there was one specific person that was like, "Yeah, go and do this, Yazzie," but there were a lot of people that were like, "Oh, you're really good at this, like carry on." It was that sort of thing, I'd say.
So what was the first show that you actually went out and worked to the public, and how old were you at the time?
So I think my first show was Party at the Manor. Well, I'd done little talent shows at primary school, but Party at the Manor was the first gig I ever did, and I was 10 when I did that, and that's in Flemington. And then I've done that every single year since. So I think I've done 10 years in a row. Long time.
And what's the biggest show that you've actually done so far? Because am I right in thinking that you went to Glastonbury?
Yeah. So the biggest show that I've done, I wish I could show you right now because we're currently in my music room studio, but where I set you up, you can't see. But here, there is a massive wall of pictures and things that I've done. And one of the main pictures is of me at Glastonbury Extravaganza, and I got to support Paloma Faith, and it's 10,000 people and performing on the Pyramid stage, which is the main stage at Glastonbury Festival. They brought it over to Glastonbury Abbey, and yeah, it was just amazing. The best gig ever.
And how big was the audience?
It was 10,000 people, so yeah, massive. I wish I could show you the picture. Maybe I should get it on the wall, but I don't think you'll be able to see it properly. But yeah, it was huge. Like I remember going for the sound check about 10 o'clock in the morning, and my set was about 4:30, I think. And when I did my sound check, the whole field was empty. You couldn't see anything. I was walking around this whole abbey. It was huge, and there was no one there, and it was such a big space. And then suddenly, within such a short space of time, I got into my dressing room, walked out on the stage, and it was just people. Like I've never performed to that many people before in my life, but it was amazing, crazy.
So a whole sea of people in front of you. At what age was this?
So this was 2 years ago, so I would have been 19. Or maybe just turned 20. 19? Yeah, 19 I think I was, yeah.
And probably like a lot of entertainers, apprehension, nerves, and as soon as you said the first syllable or the first word of the song, did it just disappear and you settled straight into it?
100%. Well, my sound check was so much earlier on in the day, And throughout the day, I saw Paloma Faith's tour buses arrive. I met Michael Eavis, who's the founder of Glastonbury Festival. He came and saw me. So there were all these things happening, and I was like, "Oh, this is like so surreal." And then when I actually went to go sound on the stage, it was like a stage I'd never performed on before. You literally had to like walk up a huge ramp to even get on it. And at the bottom of the ramp, Michael Eavis had come to meet me literally just before my set. So I spoke to him for a bit and I met his grandchildren. And so I didn't really have time to get nervous before I went on stage because I was chatting to him and then they swept me off and I was on stage. When I stood on stage, I was nervous. Like I remember standing there being like, oh my gosh, there are so many people. But people started coming to the front and like people I didn't know. I had people there that had come and were wearing Yazzie t-shirts or had gone and got my merch, and suddenly it just within a few seconds I was like, yeah, this is like where I belong. It's where I'm meant to be. Like it just felt too good to be nervous, if you know what I mean. But I recorded a video. I got it videoed while I was there. And when I watch it back now, I'm like, oh my goodness, Yazzie, you're just so excited the whole time. Like you're just like, oh my gosh, like a little, yeah, excited, crazy person.
Having people sort of come to the front of the stage, we're going to do something like that right now because welcome to Music Monday. If you've got any comments or questions you would like to put onto the show, please leave them. And starting off with, the Dam Buskers were at Party at the Park a few times because you've done Party in the Park several times, haven't you?
Yeah, Party at the Manor I've done for 10 years in a row. So yeah, they have loads and loads of amazing local acts play there, and it's amazing. Like it's all the Frampton community. It's a really lovely place to kind of start gigging actually, because it's really friendly. I think as you get on with music, you'll do some gigs that are really nice and you go and stand there and you know everyone's going to be really nice, and then I do some gigs that are a little bit more intimidating maybe. But yeah, Party at the Man's lovely, and they always really support the local music scene, which is great because it gives you a chance to perform on a big stage and have a sound engineer and all these things that sometimes you don't always get, you know, doing the usual circuit.
So with your music, who are the icons? Who do you look up to at the moment and say, that is the person I want to be like? Apart from you are you, which is great. That's the main thing. You know, we don't want to see a clone of somebody, but
No.
who are the icons that you look up to?
There are a lot of people that inspire me for a lot of different reasons, and not necessarily because I love their music or because I think I'm similar to their music, but just because of who they are. So someone I've always looked at and thought, wow, your success is amazing. And I feel like is a sort of similar-ish genre to me. And people have always, I guess, had that comparison is Adele. She's obviously done so amazing. So she's like a very obvious person for me to be like, yeah, like she really inspires me. But there are so many people that inspire me. To be honest, like I can take inspiration from anyone. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone that is famous. It can be someone that's just working really hard. I follow a lot of people that you know, aren't necessarily in the charts, but they're having a lot of success with their music, and you've watched that progression over the years. And as a musician yourself, you know the hard work that actually goes in to getting your name out there and having the success and having the streams and having the good gigs and all of this sort of stuff. So there's a lot of people that I listen to that I just love. There's an artist called Lily Moore, who I recently discovered at a BBC Introducing event, and I love her. I literally just love her. I love her music, but it's really lovely to watch her and follow her journey just on social media. There is a singer called Nina Nesbitt who's well, I saw her play in Islington in London before COVID, when we were allowed to go and watch people, and my producer and pianist actually plays the piano for her, which is really cool. But she had just gone on tour and she was doing these shows to about 600 capacity to each show, and I just sat there and I was watching people, because I love her music, but I was watching other people, and it was just amazing because it wasn't like she was like Justin Bieber level, but her music was like just as good. She was connecting with her audience, and it was really lovely because it just yeah, I just thought, oh, I'd love to be up there performing like she is and have a following like she has. That really inspired me. There's a lot of people that really inspire me, and to be honest, it can be anyone. Like the other day, I was walking down Barnstaple High Street and I saw this little boy, and he was busking on the high street, and he was only 11, and I thought, yeah, do you know what, like that takes guts to go and stand there. And that's what I used to do when I was around his age and younger, and it is a really scary thing to do, to go and just plonk yourself on the street. And so I can watch him and be like, oh, do you know what, yeah, good on him, like that's inspiring. So I take inspiration from everything, to be honest. But yeah, there's just a few.
It's finding that first run on the ladder, isn't it? And then finding direction. And I suppose by going to shows and seeing other people perform, it's the way you pick up ideas.
Oh, yeah.
You can look at ideas and then just turn it and twist it into being your own personality. Is that
Yeah.
what you've done in the past?
Definitely. I think as a musician, you do different types of gigs. So there are some gigs that you're going to do that are more intimate. There are some that you're going to do where you've got a big audience. There's some you're going to do where you can see loads of followers in the audience. There are some that you do where you do not recognize one face. And so I think every single show that you do is different, but you can learn things from different people, even if it's just the little things, not even necessarily the way you sing or perform, but just like picking up on chattiness and stuff. Like when I was younger, I used to not even speak at my gigs, and then over time you grow that confidence and you can just pick up on kind of what you enjoy watching when you go and watch a singer perform, things like that.
Okay, let's just quickly say hello to some people who are putting the thumbs up and the love sign. Steve Rolfe, Wayne Clarkey, and Stuart Dennis, they're all sending their kind regards to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Which is nice. And for anybody watching this, you can watch it on the replay as well. You'll find it on various different platforms, including YouTube. And you've got quite a bit of music on YouTube. How does that work? Do you get many views on that? Has somebody got to be like the thumbs up and be a member of your page on there?
No, so my YouTube is a public thing that you can go and watch. Anyone can go and watch. My YouTube is a channel that I've uploaded on since I started my music. Like I think I was probably like 11 or 12 when I first started posting on there, and lots of those videos are now on private. But it's been a platform that I've used to share my music and share the stage I am in my journey, because as you get older, things do naturally progress. Your sound changes. You might go from just singing loads of covers to then writing your own material, and then it goes from writing your own material and performing it in your bedroom to getting to record it in the studio and doing proper music videos and stuff like that. So my YouTube channel is open to anyone to go and watch. You can go and subscribe to it, put the little alarm bell on it so you get notified when I upload. But yeah, my YouTube's just like a little portfolio of I guess kind of like my best bits and videos, because my Instagram and Facebook, I'll put short little clips up regularly just to keep my followers having a little bit of something. But my YouTube is kind of where the more the best bits go, I guess.
Yeah. Talking about music as performance, cover versions, own material, how is that broken up on say you're doing a show which is an hour long or 2:45s? How much is your material and how much are covers?
So what I like to do, if I'm doing like a proper Yazzie sort of gig, where it's a lot of my own followers and I put the event on, majority of them are going to know a lot of my songs. So what I tend to do is always try and make it more me. And then I will always include a couple of covers, just because there'll always be someone there who isn't really familiar, or a husband of a wife who loves me, who may not know all my songs, and it's that sort of thing. So I always try and include a couple of covers, but I try and keep it now predominantly a lot of my own original material, because every time I gig, it's an opportunity to share my music and me as an artist. So that's what I try and do now. But when I was younger, I used to do a lot of covers and stuff. But as I got older and I guess my following's got bigger, more people know my own stuff. And yeah, I'm not so scared to just be like, okay, this is my gig, so I'm going to sing my own songs. But yeah.
So how big is your portfolio of your own material?
Oh my goodness. Do you know, I write so many songs. The other day, I was sat in my car and on my phone, I've got my voice notes. And this is where if I write a little idea or anything, I will voice note it. And I'm not joking, I have hundreds. On my laptop, it's the same. I have so many little ideas for songs. And then I have so many written songs that don't even get heard. I actually just saw a comment on my Facebook page of I uploaded a little clip of a song I wrote called Mule Hair, and I performed it at Glastonbury actually 2 years ago, and I still haven't released it, and it's actually a demo at the minute, so I'm trying to get it out soon. And this girl commented on it saying, tagging her friends and saying, can you remember this from Glastonbury Extravaganza? I think the thing is, I write so much, it's hard to then finally pick it to choose what you want to release and actually then gets heard by the world on the internet. But I try and write all the time. I think that's the recipe for getting yourself better is practice does make perfect. And I remember when I was younger, I used to write songs and be like, oh, these are so good. And actually, as you get older and you practice your piano more and you're better at the guitar and you have more life experience, your songs really develop. And I started recently, this past year and a half, co-writing some songs. So that's when you write with another artist or another musician or producer. And this is a really, really good thing to get into because you just bounce off two creative minds. So I have so many songs. If you were to come to my house, all you would see is little notebooks everywhere. And my phone is just voice notes of little ideas, and my note section on my phone is just lyric ideas. So I'm constantly always thinking about what I'm creating. But yeah.
So what comes first then? Is it the lyrics or the music? You know, which comes first in your song?
It depends. I think I have always had a routine of, I like to have some sort of chord structure that I want to use. And then I can base a song around that. I like to know what key I'm working with. And then as you come to the production side of it, you can then decide, okay, like that's going to go up or that's going to go down or do a different chord there. But if you've got a basis of what key you want to work in, that's how I kind of like to start. So I sit at the piano or the guitar, and then I will have some sort of thing that I want to write about. So something would have happened to me or something would have sparked some sort of inspiration. I take that line and I just write whatever, and I have my chords, and that's how I kind of do it. I kind of do it two at the same time. But when I'm co-writing, it's more of a thing where we will be in the studio and get Logic Pro up, and we will get our like the guitar, put down a little riff or something and just a little beat on the drums, and it's a different kind of process, but it kind of lets you both feel the vibe of what you're going for, build the vibe up. Then, you know, usually because I'm not a producer, I will be sat there in the little sofa or the chair, and I'll be like, okay, like, I've come up with this idea, like let's go with this lyric, and then he'll be like, oh, that's a great lyric, and then it kind of bubbles that way. There's lots of different ways you can create, and I don't think there's one rule for what's right. I think you need to go for what you're in the mood to do. So
Is your music coming out on like your own label, independent label, or have you got a reasonably good record deal with a big company yet?
So I release everything that I do independently. I've over the years released my music with different distributors that kind of work better for me and can help my music out. So I feel like I'm so washed out there in my colour. So I have a producer that I work with. There's a couple of guys that I've worked with over the years, but I'm working with one guy called Adam now, and he's great. Like, I feel like in this day and age, having a record deal and stuff is amazing. It is amazing to have that, but there's a lot that you can do on your own, a lot of freedom that you can have on your own until you get to that point. And something that I've always been told, and I guess you kind of learn from, is that it's not a race to get a manager, or it's not a race to get this and that, because sometimes you can find yourself locked in situations that you don't necessarily want to be in. I remember when I was 14, 15, I was signed into a company. It was only for 6 months, and then I could decide whether I wanted to stay or leave. But I was there for 6 months, and it was great because I met a producer that I loved to work with. But they wanted me to dress a certain way and do this sort of stuff, and it wasn't right for me. So I think, at the minute I'm independent, so I'm doing everything that I want through my own thing, which really works for me right now. So yeah.
So when you're on stage, it's just you, or do you have other musicians on stage with you? Is that something which is going to grow? What situation?
Well, I mean, I would love one day to be able to perform with an orchestra. But yeah, so when I'm doing smaller gigs, I will always accompany myself on the guitar or piano, which is something great. If there's any aspiring musicians out there, learning an instrument will help you massively. Sorry, you can hear my dogs in the background trying to get involved with this. Oh no. But yeah, so learning an instrument is great. So it means that I can accompany myself at the smaller gigs, and then when I do things that are slightly bigger, so maybe some festivals or any launches or anything that's just like a little bit bigger, I will have a band come and play with me. So this at the minute consists of a pianist, drummer, and a cellist. And my pianist kind of plays samples and stuff, so we can get it as near as we can to the actual recording. But yeah, it just depends. Like a lot of the time I do just accompany myself, if it's smaller things, and then the bigger things I will get a band in.
Now, what I want to do is talk about this. This is your latest official video, isn't it?
Yeah.
Should we have a little listen to it, and then we'll talk about it afterwards? And perhaps you'd like to introduce it.
This is my new single, All I Can Do Is Cry.
You say you're sorry, didn't mean to come off so strong. Then I say I'm sorry, even though I did nothing wrong. I guess I just feel guilty, even though you let me on. You're all that I want, but I'm not the only one. Oh, you're all that I want, but I'm not the only one. Seems like these days it's cool to not show your feelings. Seems like these days you shouldn't act like you care. What do I do when there's no more distractions left, and the realization hits that you're not there, and the realization hits that you don't care. I tell you it's just not good enough. And you tell me you want me and you don't wanna screw it up. But how can I believe a single word you say? 'Cause all of this is just words and no actions at the end of the day. Yeah, it's all words and no actions at the end of the day. Distracting yourself, 'cause it's temporary fix. I've come to realize it's you that I miss. So when you say jump, I say out. All I can do is cry. Distracting yourself becomes temporary fix. And I've come to realize it's you that I miss. So when you say jump, I say high. And now all I can do is cry.
Yay.
Oh, wow, 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 wow.
Ah,
Yeah, that is absolutely lovely.
thank you.
Got to ask the question really. How long was you in the bath for? How long? How
I
long
was
did it
honestly, I was
take?
in the bath for like 4 hours and I was so cold because we could have the water like sort of warm, but we couldn't have it hot because if it was hot, it would steam the cameras up. So I was very chilly, but the lovely lady who owns the house kept bringing me cups of coffee in the bath. So I was fine. It's worth it for the video. Do you know what I mean?
What's the story behind the song?
So this is a song I wrote it probably like 2 or so years ago. Again, was just sat on my voice notes for a while, but I always knew I wanted to record it and release it. And I wrote this song about that point in a relationship where you would do so much for someone, but it's not reciprocated. They're not doing the same for you, and they may have someone else on the scene, and it's just that point of there's nothing more to say, there's nothing more that you can do to control this situation, and it's just that point of there's nothing to say, there's nothing you can say, so you just cry. Like, that's your expression of your emotion, you just cry. I'm a very emotional person, so that I cry if I'm happy, I cry if I'm sad, but the song is just that pinnacle moment when you're just really heartbroken and that's all you can do. You just sit in the silence and just let your emotions, I guess, get the better of you. It's about that kind of time.
I suppose really songs are all about what goes on in your world, isn't it? Really, whatever is affecting you and people around you. Talking about things what are happening around you at the moment. What's lockdown been like?
Do you know what? It's been weird. It's been really weird because last November I was adamant that I was going to move to London full time. I was like, I'm doing it. And then the new year came around and then COVID happened. So that plan kind of went out the window. However, lockdown did give me time to actually not necessarily take a breather because I still was releasing music, trying to keep busy. I still kept doing a lot of things. But it gave me time to actually give myself a pat on the back, which I know is such a weird thing to say. But when you live a lifestyle that's not necessarily like a 9-to-5 job, there'll be times where there is no time limits or whatever to what I'm doing. And being a musician isn't just going and performing on stage for that hour. There's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes and it just takes up so much time. My music is constantly all I think about. Like, I can be sat having dinner and I'll be just replying to an email, or I'll be, oh, did you see that? I need to be doing that. And it can be a bit exhausting sometimes. And you're in this constant loop of, I've done that. Okay, so what can I be doing next? And this is happening and that's happening. And before you know it, you're not actually giving yourself the time to be like, I've achieved that. I've done that. Like, this is so good. Like, well done me. Like, that sort of thing. And you do need to be like that in your life, or else you just are constantly chasing the next thing without being like, well done to yourself. And I think that's really necessary. So in this lockdown, I was still releasing music. I've released 2 singles this year, and at the beginning of the year I did whole January sessions. I have kept really busy this year, but obviously there's been a lack of being in the studio and that side of things, and gigs and things like that. But it's to be honest, it's been a really productive year for me mentally, to just be able to be like, okay, I wouldn't say this is necessarily a breather year, but it's a year where I've been able to be productive, but also had that time to be like, yeah, you're doing all right, keep going, that sort of thing. So it's been good for me.
I notice in the background there's a few instruments. How many instruments do you own?
A lot. I'm literally lent on a piano now, so if you can hear like that noise, I'm lent on a piano. I have, in this corner, I've got about 6 guitars over there hidden away. Behind me there is one on the floor, which I don't think you can see, and then one on the wall. I've got my piano. Yeah, I'm a very musical girl. Yeah, and there's a violin as well hidden in that drawer. There's lots of instruments. But you know, actually, this year has made me be like, because when I was at school and college and stuff, I did all my piano lessons and grades and my singing grades and all of that sort of stuff. But this lockdown has made me be like, do you know what? Not necessarily to do grades, but I really want to go back to having piano lessons, not because I want to do grades or anything, because I've done them, but just to kind of help me a little bit with that inspiration on the piano side of things, and just I play the piano every single day, but when you're just accompanying yourself, you forget certain things and you don't do certain things for a long time. So yeah, that's something I really want to take up in the new year, is some piano lessons when I have time.
Okay, so if you were cast away on an island, probably not Lundy, but somewhere a bit warmer at the moment.
I'd love to be on Lundy Island. It's my favourite place.
Yeah, out of all the instruments that you could take with you, which one would it be? What is your favourite?
It's not even in here. My guitar that I use all my gigs, it's a Godin Seagull guitar. If you see any of my pictures, it's like the whitey yellow coloured guitar. That is oh my God, I love it. Like, my other guitars are all sentimental to me for different reasons, but that one is the one that comes to all of my gigs with me. I've had it since I was like 15. It'll be that guitar, 100%, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. If you could sit down and have a drink, coffee, tea, something a bit stronger, of anybody, just to talk and find out about their life, who would it be? They could be still alive, or they may have passed on to the big nightclub in the sky or whatever. Who would you like to sit down and talk to? Maybe find it inspirational.
I think I'd like to talk to someone who is still around and still in the music scene and kind of gets it, because I feel like maybe people that aren't around anymore, the music industry is changing so much. Maybe the advice that they've got to give me might not be relevant to this day and age industry, even though there are so many people that I love, like Amy Winehouse, Eva Cassidy. Would love to ever even see them live, to hear them sing. But someone I really love, and like, it's quite funny, I don't know if it's funny or not, but someone I love is Gary Barlow. And I always have done. I just think he's a really great musician. Seems like a really nice, genuine man, and he's done so well for himself. I feel like it's him that I'd like to sit down with. I feel like I don't know. I feel like he'd be a good conversation. I feel like he'd want to listen to my music and give me that time. So I feel like, well, we hope. But yeah, I really like Gary Barlow. I feel like Gary Barlow is someone that I'd love to get to meet. Yeah, definitely.
Entertaining, creative, self-made, and he helps a lot of other people as well. So maybe he might pick up on this and give you a shout.
Gary!
So where is home at the moment? Are you still based in North Devon, or have you?
Yeah. So, like I said, last November, I was like, yeah, I'm going to move to London, but that's not happened. And I can't really see it properly happening in the near future, really, just because of the way of the world at the minute. But that's fine. So I live in Instow, which is, very beachy place. It's perfect for me. It's really inspiring to live here. So I guess when things hopefully go back to normal and there's a vaccine out and all this sort of stuff, what I tend to do is spend was what I was doing before COVID, was spending like half the week here and half the week in London. It's only a quick train, really, in the grand scheme of things, and I can get there, get in the studio, go to gigs, all of that, and it's not too far, really. So that's, I guess, going to be the situ for, yeah.
The thing is, if you've got talent and you've got talent, then because of the internet, you
Yes.
don't have to live in a place like London, Birmingham, or Manchester. And I would have thought, because you were talking about your canine friend, I presume that walking on Instow Beach must be quite a normal thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. I always try and keep active, even if it is going for a walk, because what I find as a musician is you are wearing like 15 different hats, and you're always thinking of different things. And I could talk about this for ages, so I won't. But sometimes you just don't let your brain switch off. Like some nights I literally cannot sleep. Like you will get a reply from me at 3 o'clock in the morning because I just can't sleep. And it's because my brain is constantly going like that. And so to live by the beach is perfect for me, because sometimes all it can take is starting your day with a 30-minute walk on the beach with my dog. And then you're like, yeah, okay, good to go. Come on then. Like, and so I'm very lucky for that. Nice quiet place. Yeah, very lucky.
Happy place to be, certainly. Yeah. And we haven't actually said, what breed of dog have you got?
I've got two. So the one that you heard, the very noisy one, is a bearded collie. She's called Alice, and she is just so noisy. She's the most needy dog ever. But every time I take her for a walk, I always get compliments on her because she is very cute. She's a big scruffball. And then we also have a Jack Russell called Millie, who we've had since I was about 6. So she is very old, but she's quiet. She just sits and sleeps.
I know the feeling. I got 2 West Highland Whites. At the moment, there's one underneath the production desk, and the other one is on guard duty in the front room. And quite often when we're doing things, then suddenly you hear all this woof, woof, woof in the background, because that's what they do.
You can't avoid it. It is what it is. Makes it more natural anyway.
Now, listen, before I let you go, let's ask you one more question. What is on the horizon for Yazzie for 2021?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so it's a bit weird to plan and prep things at the minute. However, there is going to be a lot of new music. I'm adamant that that is going to be my top priority. That there's going to be a lot of new music for you guys and a lot of content. So upping my game a bit with that, because I hopefully can. And I've been offered a slot at a very big festival. So provided everything is normal, I'm not allowed to say which festival yet. Provided everything is normal, it's looking like I'm going to have a very good summer, and lots of gigging. I'm going to be everywhere this year. I'm going to make sure of it. So, yeah, just follow on my socials and you'll be able to keep up with me.
Okay. So if anybody wants to find you, you can find you on Facebook. You can go to YouTube. I presume music can be either viewed or brought on things like iTunes.
Yeah. So I'm literally on everything. My handle is at Yazzie_music, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I'm on everything, TikTok. And then my music can be found on everything as well. So if you want to watch something visual, go to YouTube. If you want to just listen, go on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, get your Alexa to play Yazzie. I also am doing a giveaway at the minute. It finishes in 3 days on the 10th of December, but I'm giving away a pair of wireless Beats headphones. So they're the same ones that I use when I'm recording. And they're really great. And so I'm giving them away on my Facebook page on my music video. So if you go find my music video for All I Can Do Is Cry on my Facebook page, you can enter the giveaway, and it's literally just sharing the video. And yeah, then I'm going to choose a winner and send them the headphones. So yeah, lots of fun stuff going on.
Absolutely brilliant. Now listen, thank you very much indeed for spending some time with us today, because I know from what you said you have another appointment in 10 minutes time. And I don't want to rush this conversation, but I think we've got to that point where we're going to have to say our goodbyes. I wish you and all your family a happy, safe Christmas, and look into the new year. And we look forward to catching up with you again.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely Christmas. Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Yazzie. Thank you.